It's the cod.
Episode 17, live and direct, back in effect.
Come on now.
Ryan and Paul.
Paul and Ryan, you know what it is. Thank you for
Yes,
tuning
sir.
in. Good morning.
Thank you for tuning in. Good morning. Thank you for tuning into our last episode, The Rewind. That was a glimpse into my early attempts at podcasting. I actually had started recording on an iPhone. If you could tell, I just turned on the voice memo app, drop it in the middle of the room, and everybody started talking. So you can kind of see how the sound quality was back then versus now, where we're sitting in a controlled environment with both of our mics. When COVID allows and we can be in the same studio together, we'll still have these mics. So it'll definitely, the sound will definitely stay there. But also back then, I was not too privy to, people want the conversation. Back then, if you can tell, it was real live and the energy was there, which was great. But I was throwing background music on there.
Right.
And, when I listened back, it was like, okay, this is great. But you're kind of straining to listen to you versus the instrumental that's playing.
Exactly.
Are the levels correct or whatever? It's not necessarily a radio show. It's a podcast. There's two different things.
Right.
So,
and you know what
over
it is?
time,
it's good to show people the evolution, bro. The foundation and how things evolve and how the conversation changes. And man, honestly, even your evolution, right? You mature as an artist, you mature as a personality. Sir. So, I mean, that was just good for them to speak for sure. To see
shout out Visual Mecca for being on that episode. If you didn't know who they were Chicago video director team. So they did a couple of my videos. They did Alex Wiley's videos. I think they had worked on some videos with Chance the Rapper. So, they made a name in Chicago for directing videos. Now I think they're still, involved in video work, but they're just working separately now. They're still, homies and whatever. There's no beef. But I think, Visual Mecca as a team, that's definitely in the past. But shout out to Visual Mecca for, coming on that episode, and shout out to them right now for doing what they're still doing and what they're still contributing to the Chicago music scene. But, episode 17, we got a lot to talk about, man.
A lot to talk about. And you know what? Before we even get into the real subjects, I just want to say this because we talked about growth and evolution. So if you're grown, if you're 18, it is your duty, your responsibility, and honestly your obligation to register to vote and go out there and vote.
Come on now.
Come on.
I actually voted in person this past week.
Yeah. I'm waiting for my ballot, man. I'm hoping
exactly. If you can vote by mail, vote by mail. If you can request your absentee ballot, do that. Vote any way you can. I know in my small suburb out here, like right outside of DC, it wasn't too much of an issue to go and vote in person. Now, the crazy thing was, it still was an hour wait. The line was way outside the door. But, everybody was 6 feet apart from each other. Everybody had their masks on. You couldn't be there without doing those things. Everybody was respectful. I did have some reservations about voting in person just because of how people, how this whole climate is. Is it going to be Trump supporters showing up trying to intimidate you at the polls? Nobody was like that. Everybody was respectful. Everybody stuck to themselves. Nobody was really trying to get in anybody's business. So that was cool. But, once you did get into the building, it was still 6 feet. And it was a smooth process, and we got in there and we got out quickly. So, I wasn't too scared of everything. Everything went smooth. But like I said, man, if you can get your, mail-in ballot, if you can get your absentee ballot, however you feel comfortable voting, do that. Because it was good, man. And it felt like a big weight off my shoulders because this is a very important election. So I didn't really want to wait until November 3rd to be out there with the circus because it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah, it is. You know it is. They're coming out and they're gonna act out, man. But you know what?
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of people feel like it's their right or it's their choice, and it really is. But I feel like it's your obligation, right? Especially me being
It is.
especially me being a veteran, man. And I think that the problem is that a lot of people don't realize that, yeah, you vote for the president every 4 years, but senators and lawmakers, you got to vote for every 2 years. Your local decision makers, you vote for damn near every year. So it's like, who do you think are making the laws and proposing the proposals and tariffs and things like that that directly affect you? It's your local and your, you know what I'm saying, and your state.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not, don't just come out and vote during the presidency. The president is only, it's three branches of the government. The president is only the head of one branch of the government. He can't do anything if Congress doesn't pass what he proposes. So you got to keep that in mind. But like I said, I think that's just a lack of education. You know, everybody should get out and vote. It directly affects you, your taxes, everything. You know, it directly affects you. You know, your judges, your police, whoever. So, you know what I mean? Your district attorneys, right?
And that's the big fact, man, because I try to vote as much as I can locally. You know, anytime they send a notice out saying, you know, this voting is going on at the Capitol building, or this is going on for this, or vote on these judges, I usually do my due diligence to go and study up on who the candidates are and go out there and vote, because, you know, what else am I doing?
Right.
Everyone says local voting is important. And when local voting comes around, a lot of people just, you know, sit back,
fall to the wayside.
So I try to vote as much as I can whenever it's available. I know sometimes people out here don't even like to publicize when a vote is even in motion or going on.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, if I'm notified and I got the knowledge, I'll go and do my thing, man. So,
hey, man,
yeah, man,
it's your right to do so. You feel me? And on the other end of that, you mentioned Trumpers. Man, Trump caught COVID. COVID-19 strikes again.
Hey, man, that was a night on Twitter that I had missed. But when I woke up and I
you know Twitter was on fire. You know,
hey, man. On fire. When I woke up and checked it out, it was on fire. Twitter was on fire. It was like it's ironic, right? Because, you know, Trump was, I mean, he says he never called it a hoax. There's a lot of people out there who are trying to fact check and say, oh, he didn't call it a hoax. But everything he said outside of the word hoax kind of, you know, meant that he was calling it a hoax. He definitely was saying that it wasn't as serious as it was. He definitely is on tape downplaying it, saying he knew of it, but didn't tell us until like 2 months later. He definitely was calling it the China virus. And, you know, he kind of strayed away from wearing a mask a lot of times. So there was a lot of things that he was doing that was, you know, if he didn't outright call it a hoax, there was a lot of questionable activity and behavior that kind of communicated to people that he wasn't taking it seriously.
Right. And you know
so
what?
Now you catch it.
Yeah. He got it, and now, you know, 2-3 days later, he's back in the White House. It's like, whoa!
It doesn't work like that. We know for this whole year, it's always been like, you know, 2 weeks, man. Yeah. At least. At the very least, give yourself 2 weeks to quarantine and figure out what's going on, because you're either going to get better in 2 weeks or your health is going to deteriorate. So
him catching
there's still no cure.
Him catching it for Trump supporters, right? For Trumpers, verifies that COVID-19 is real. First of all, right? For them. Second of all, it's not about you. Right, let's get it straight and let's clear the air right now, because I know numerous people who work in the medical fields, nurses, doctors, that I talk to on a regular basis, correct? And it's real. It's really contagious. It really can affect, even though you might not get sick. And let's get this out there. It's a social responsibility. You might not get sick and die from it, right? But you may be be asymptomatic and pass to somebody who can. So it's not about you. It's about the collective, right? It's about the good.
And here's another thing, man. Even if you survive, right? Even if you survive and get better, there's a lot of people who are left with lingering side effects or lingering complications. There's a lot of people who now have to walk around with an inhaler because their lung capacity hasn't gone back to 100%.
And it's crazy.
There's a lot of people who've left without the sense of smell or taste.
Right. And my bad, and I didn't mean to jump in, but it just kind of upsets me just a little bit, bro, because it's like we're beating a dead horse, man. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, can you force people
every week we got to keep telling people wear the mask, wash their hands.
You know what I'm saying? like you know, I know it's like I said, it's beating a dead horse. You hear it every day, you hear it all the time, but people are still dying. That's the problem. Yeah. People still aren't taking it seriously, and it's kind of crazy, man. It's, you know, whatever though, right? But Trump,
man, when it hit 100,000, talking, I remember when the news was like 100,000 deaths.
Yeah,
people were like, "Oh, how did we get here? Yeah, this is crazy."
Now it's 200.
And now we're approaching 200, right? Or we did hit 200.
Yeah, I think we're like talking about right now. I think we're like
now Fauci talking about, you know, if we don't really get serious about things, we could approach 400,000.
Look at that.
And it's like, yeah, man, it's like what happened to the kind of initial energy around the 100,000 number? Because that was like a whole like moment in the news when it was like, yo, we hit 100,000.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah,
how did we get here? Now it's just like, oh, 100,000. That was a couple weeks ago.
Jeez.
It's like we're getting too used to things, you know. None of this should be regular.
And since we're on, since we jumped into politics, right, talking about Trump having COVID, man, let's jump into this the kidnap. Or the attempted kidnapping.
Come on, bro. It keeps getting wilder. It keeps getting wilder out here. So I guess the FBI had thwarted a plot from domestic terrorists. I'll call them domestic terrorists. I know a lot of news stations were calling them a militia. Right. They could be a militia, but they are still domestic terrorists. So
absolutely,
this militia was out here planning to kidnap, and I guess either kidnap and take her somewhere, or I guess maybe just kill her at her house.
Right.
But they wanted to target the governor of Michigan?
Yeah, Gretchen Whitmer, right? Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, says FBI unfolded the plot 13 charge in her the plot to kidnap Mrs. Whitmer.
She's a Democrat as well. Absolutely. So, you know, there's politics at play here.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were trying to prove, but I think like they felt like they can take over the state because they kidnapped her or something. But I mean, that's not how things work. No. You know what I mean? So you go and do that, you're gonna have some bigger forces swoop down on you.
Right. You don't like her, vote against her, just like any other elected official. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Vote locally, do whatever, you know, you feel like you have to do. But this is not the days of, you know, we kidnap somebody, now this is a demilitarized. You know, it's like
like, what are you going to do, bro? Yeah, this is
like how we were talking about earlier. Is it gonna? You think it's gonna be a sovereign state and you're gonna put up some fences or something? You don't have any resources, bro. You kidnap her. Who of her underlings are gonna follow you? It's only 13 of y'all. It's only 13 of y'all. So you go and do that. There's a whole lot of other people who are in charge of running things in Michigan. You got more of y'all to go after them too, because it's, you know, you're just gonna meet a deadly fate at that point if you actually go ahead with your plan. Somebody's gonna knock on your door,
right?
And they're gonna boss you up. Like,
I mean, you know,
you just calling for an untimely demise at that point.
It's like
you didn't think things through.
Yeah, this isn't Die Hard, man. It's not some action movie. You know what I'm saying?
It's not Mad Max.
Yeah. You know, take control of Michigan. You know, Obviously, we're running it.
Yeah, you didn't think that one through because what's next? What's
Yeah,
next?
nothing. Nothing.
Exactly.
It's not how it works in
Now,
the U.S.
it's funny because I guess the Michigan governor had called Trump a white supremacist at some point,
Mm.
and Trump, when they asked him to comment on this plan that was foiled, he said, "Oh, I think she should be a little bit more grateful. She called me a white supremacist." So it's kind of like, man, like,
Whoa.
don't you know your words kind of empower these type of groups to go out and do that action? It wasn't like they kidnapped or were trying to kidnap a Republican, governor. That's why I bring in the fact that she was a Democrat
Right.
and the fact that this militia, if you look them up, I'm pretty sure they are connected to some groups that, like how on the debate when they asked him to, denounce white supremacy, and he didn't actually denounce it, but he said, "What? The Proud Boys."
Right.
So it's like there are these like groups, these like really radicalized groups out there. I guess you can call them far right, but they're just some racist organizations out there like the Proud Boys who
Yeah.
would do something like this. You know what I mean? So
But I got to bring up a point too about the
you
Proud
empower
Boys,
people
man.
like that.
The Proud
Yeah.
Boys, their leader is actually a Hispanic dude.
Really?
Yeah, bro. So I don't. Yeah. Let's fact check that. You know
Hey
what I'm saying?
man, come on, fam. Come on, man. It's wild times out here. It's wild times. I'm learning
Hey,
something new every day, man.
yeah, man. Cause I actually I looked them up because I was like, damn, Proud Boys. Like I never heard about these dudes. But then I looked
Yeah.
it up and they were interviewing the leader of the Proud Boys right now. And
Yeah.
hold on, I'll get his name. I'll get his name on deck. Cause I was pretty like, oh wow. Boom. Enrique Terrio. Enrique
Okay.
Tarrio. That's his name.
Yeah.
Yep. So he said that they're not white supremacists.
Hey man, look.
He said they're just a pro America group. They're not white supremacists. Ooh.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's one of those type
It's
of
a lot of
things.
terminology, man. It's a lot of terminology because you could say pro America, but at the end of the day, we kind of know what groups that America has kind of like to protect and been
Right.
for. So technically, all right, technically you can say you're not a white supremacist group, but you know, you can date
Are you
back to slavery. You
are
can
you
date back to Emmett Till. You can
right.
date back to every big moment in this country, and you've never really upheld a minority voice or a black voice. You know what I mean? You've never really upheld that. A lot of things in America are built to protect, you know, white institutions and white thought. So, I don't say that against my white brethren. We have a lot of white friends. So, it just is what it is. So if you're pro America, and I don't want to say if you're pro America, you're that. Those are their words that they're pro America.
Right.
I feel like we're all pro America. We all live here. None of us are leaving here. We
I think
just
the
spoke about
idea
the
of
importance of voting.
the
But
idea
when
of
you
pro
say
America.
pro America and then you match it with the actions that the Proud Boys have already taken, and that's another thing. Just like how we were talking about Trump, right? You can say I've never said the word hoax, right? But it's your actions. Your
Right.
actions are going to speak louder than your words. So you can
You,
never have said the word hoax, but your actions have displayed that you act like it's a hoax.
you've
Your words
insinuated it.
can
You've
say you're
insinuated
pro America,
right.
but your actions show me a different thing.
Right.
It's just like how, you have black Republicans and then say, oh, we're not racist. Okay. Have you ever heard of the terminology of a token? Do you know what token means? It's like, it's sad, bro.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, man, in
I'm
America,
sure,
man.
I'm sure Proud Boys have assaulted Hispanic people as well.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And that's what I'm
it's
saying, man.
sad,
It's
bro.
just like it's this idea of, and like you said, being a pro America, right? That definition can be skewed. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
it's the way
Pro
they,
America shouldn't mean anything racial,
nah, it
but
shouldn't mean anything racial. Or for that matter, it shouldn't be a political party either.
exactly.
You know,
Everybody should be pro America, right? We all love our country, right?
right, exactly, exactly. But I just thought that was a good fact to throw out there, man, because just like you said, the token, you know what I mean? Or like people
Mm-hmm.
who, are kind of, brainwashed one way or the other, because we see it on
Yeah.
both sides, right? You're
Yeah.
brainwashed because, just like I've met people who are like far, far right, and you're just like, man, your ideas are ridiculous, you know what I mean? I've met
Yeah.
people far, far left, and it's like, man, yeah, we should all be one and live out in the woods and, just down with the grid, down with the system. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's not reasonable either. You know what I mean? Like that don't make
Right. Yeah.
sense
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, well, we got to come to some kind of happy medium. But yeah, you're right. His what you insinuate, you don't have to say something if you insinuate. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah, so I think that yeah, this kidnapping, bro, like just to bring her back around full circle, this kidnapping is clearly a reflection of the times, right? And of the
Yeah.
energy that's being put out there politically. And like you said, what's your next move? So
Yeah. Because you didn't, you know that you didn't plan far ahead than that. What
yeah,
are you gonna do after you do that? You're gonna who are you gonna get on the phone with to demand whatever you want?
right,
Do you even know who to speak to? Do you even know who's in control of this, that, and the third?
right. You could
And
be
then
sitting
once you
there.
call up,
I was,
yeah, you're gonna
I,
sit on your hands. Once you don't even know the numbers of the people to call to start putting things in place, and they're not gonna listen to you. They're gonna do their own thing.
exactly,
Do you think the police are gonna listen to you? Do you have connections with them? Like it takes a lot to really take control of something. And then once you need federal help, you're gonna call the government and they're gonna help you out. They're going
exactly,
to go along with this. So
yeah. And I mean,
yeah, man.
in that same world, man, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed
Yeah.
away. Associate,
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
yeah, Justice of the Supreme Court, a liberal, leader, and
Hmm.
man, honestly, she
Women's
did
rights activist.
exactly. Great, great, great strides for women and their rights, and man, rest in peace. I mean, we lost a good one.
Yes, sir. She leaves a seat open, of course,
Exactly.
and right now, Trump and them are trying to put in. I feel like
What's her
this
name?
would be their second, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Barnett is her last name,
Right.
and Kavanaugh was, I think, the first person they put in. I'm only saying I think because I read somewhere online that someone was like, "Oh yeah, Trump's trying to put in a third person," but I feel like Kavanaugh was the only person they had put in there so far. So this would be their second appointee within Trump's term,
Right.
to my knowledge. So I think it's Amy Corey Barnett. Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Amy Coney Barrett. Barrett.
Coney, yeah,
Yeah.
Coney Barrett, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And she's a judge.
um,
She's a
she's a judge.
Republican
She's a
judge.
Republican.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are her supporters are saying things like, um, her 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 professor really spoke highly of her from Notre Dame, and he is a liberal. So there's a lot of people trying to push this bipartisan support for her.
Right.
But at the end of the day, she is a Republican. She has some strong beliefs of things that people think that she might be used to overturn Roe v. Wade. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean that she's necessarily down for all of the advancements that have happened in the name of women's rights. So she might be against Roe v. Wade as far as abortion rights. So,
Which
you
they don't
know,
want to
uh,
say. They don't want to say it, but I mean that's a religious thing. But we ain't gonna
mhm,
go there. We know that.
exactly,
We know that.
exactly, exactly.
So separation of
Um,
church and state. Thank you.
if she, I mean, I think the what's it called? The place is already kind of skewed. Um, I think the Supreme Court is already skewed towards a conservative majority already,
Right.
with Kavanaugh being in there. So it would just create a stronger majority for them to put her in. But now that Trump has COVID, and it's not just Trump, right? You know how we said earlier, Trump caught it, his press secretary caught it. There's like 13 people in the White House who've caught it. I think
Right.
there's even reports that Pence has it.
Yeah.
So damn near the whole.
And now the fly has it. So.
Yeah. The whole White House kind of has COVID right now. And I think that might prove a little bit difficult for them to keep pushing this vote out there. Because Trump can say, this is my wish, go ahead. But there's other people who actually need to be on the floor to make a vote. And I think they have COVID as well. So this might actually delay the vote. Right. So if this delays the vote and if Biden wins, he could take it off the table.
Right.
But, a lot is going to happen between now and November 3rd. The COVID thing was huge. But, keep your eyes peeled, man, because things are not going to slow down.
No, absolutely not, man. It's only going to get heavier, but we're here for it, right?
Yeah. We out here,
and
we waiting,
man,
ready,
and then
staying safe.
That's right. And on that note, man, both of the president and the vice presidential debates,
Oh yeah, they happened. I watched both. How about you?
Yeah, same.
All right, let's get into it, man. The first presidential debate went how I thought it would. I was telling a lot of people that Biden would wash Trump, and Trump kind of washed himself. That was my take on the whole debate. Biden really didn't have to do much but show up and just kind of be himself. He was mild-mannered, mild-tempered. He stuck to the facts. He wasn't really talking down against Trump, even though he did get frustrated a few times. He did say stuff like, look at this clown, will you shut up, man? Stuff like that. But Trump was he was unhinged, to say the least. He was not answering a lot of questions. He was speaking over Biden. He was getting real nasty. Biden said something like, I'm going to do what's smart. And then Trump says, oh, you think you're smart? You graduated at the bottom of your class, which is funny because I'm pretty sure the same thing happened with Trump. I'm sure Trump, famously had graduated at the bottom of his class. So, both guys up there, I guess, graduated at the bottom of their classes. But Trump was the one who was making himself look like an ass. He was talking over Biden regularly. He was going for personal jabs and digs. He was not respecting the moderator. He was speaking over his 2-minute time limit. And, aside from his actual answers that he did give that were fact-checked to not necessarily be correct, a lot of people can get fact checked during debates, but once you add in the childish behavior, it doesn't look good for you. You lost a debate on your own. So,
man, I don't even.
Biden had to do was just
hey, man, my opinion was that first debate wasn't even a debate, man. It was I
had a headache at the end, bro.
Yeah. It was like watching I don't know, some toddlers fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Not listening to the moderator. After a while, it was just like, damn, do I pop some popcorn? What the hell is going on here? You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
It's more of a movie than the two people who are running for, the president of the United States. And to be honest with you, man, I thought about this and I've asked and I've had this conversation with numerous people. It's like, man, do these two dudes really reflect who we are as Americans?
Right. Yeah.
So look at them dudes and look at those guys and look at our population, right? Do they really reflect us? Do they really have our best interests at heart? Us as young adults, are these the people we want making decisions for the next 10, 20 years of our lives, you know. Not to sound like a whatever, you know, knock on wood, but they might not even be
Yeah.
here, you know, the policies that
Yeah.
they put in place.
Hey, man.
So it's like
It's one of those things, like how you said, man. It's like, does art imitate life, or does life imitate
imitate
art?
art. Exactly.
You know, are we following their lead? Because, you know, the whole Michigan governor kidnapping plan, the whole thing that I was telling you earlier in Denver about just yesterday, someone was killed during protests between far right and far left. I mean, everything that's going on this year, it's really extreme out there. So are we following their lead because the people in office are extreme? Or are they following our lead? Like, hey, this is what the people want. This is how they act. So let me mirror them on stage. You
Exactly.
know, it's a interesting thing to think about.
No, it's very interesting. And that's a great point because, you know, they're swaying the masses with their energy, you know, on both sides.
Throwing gasoline in the fire.
Yeah, yeah. So it's one of those things, man. It's do they really represent us? Do they really have our best interests at heart? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that as time will show and go on, we have to sit back and reevaluate that and maybe think about changing, you know, the direction of the leadership in this country.
Yeah, man.
I personally don't feel like they represent us. You know, I'm gonna drop
Yeah.
that bomb out there. I don't. I don't. Regardless,
It's
you know,
gotta be
and that's
it's
it.
gotta be I mean, for a while we've said we've got to kind of move away from a two-party system, right?
Yeah,
Because they get very used to it. They get very used to it. Like, what else? What other options do you have? Type of thing.
you don't.
Because you could see how a lot of people like Bernie, right? They're really energized by Bernie. And one thing I say is, as much as Bernie said what he wanted to do, what president has ever done 100% of what they said they were going to do?
Right.
You know, president essentially or ideally is not a king or a dictator. So
He can't
once you
really
get
do what he
into
wants to
office,
do. Yeah.
exactly. Once you get into office, you can propose things, but you still got the Senate and the Congress. There's checks and balances, or there should be checks and balances, right? So you could always try to work with people, but inevitably you're going to have compromise. I mean, Obama tried his whole 8-year term to kind of put forth the Affordable Care Act, which they're still trying to take away.
Right.
And a lot of people was like, "Oh, that's so revolutionary. That's that's so out of the ordinary. This, and that." Which you can see today, they're still trying to tear down what they call Obamacare. So for you know, if you really let Bernie get in there, do you think he was going to be able in his first term to say, "Let me get a Green New Deal. Let me get this. Let me get that. Let me get free college. Let me get this. Let me get that." He might get one thing that might really, really change and help people, but it might just be one thing.
Yeah.
He might get something or half a thing just because, um, he might get half a thing just because of how compromise and stuff works like that. But, when they were talking about in the debate about when Trump had brought up something about your own party kicked out. Are you a far left guy? Do you support these far left people? And I remember Biden was like, "I am my party." So it was one of those things like, oh snap! A lot of people really did like Bernie, and I feel like Bernie was kind of pushed out because I think the DNC, just like last time, I think he got pushed out for Hillary. And I think this time he got pushed out for Biden because if you saw, he was winning in a lot of states by a huge margin. And then out of nowhere, like Elizabeth Warren dropped out, Kamala Harris dropped out, all these people dropped out. And initially, a lot of these people had, I guess it's because they were running against him, but they didn't have the best of things to say about Biden. But they all dropped out, and within like a week, every single person was like, I endorse Biden.
That's inner
And
party
Bernie
politics.
lost one state.
That's inner
And
party
then,
politics.
Yeah, Bernie lost one state, and then all of a sudden he said, "You know what? I'm dropping out."
Right.
So there was something going on in the background. So I think, to me, I
Yeah.
wish Biden would have respected that and said, "Oh yeah, Bernie did have a lot of momentum, and we're gonna, speak to him when we get it." Hopefully, I wanted to hear that from him. But when he said that I'm the face of the party, it was like, come on, fam, like, you're up there because of your prior history with Obama and your name recognition. Like, yeah, you're a good guy and all that, but it's like,
That's
we
why
know
you're
why you're up there. We
right. You
know
need
why you're up
recognition.
there. So I can't necessarily, that was a really arrogant thing on his part to just be like, I am the party. I am the face of the party. Like,
I mean, and on the other end of that, Kamala Harris was one of the main people who were calling them a
yeah,
racist.
yeah, exactly.
So so
Exactly.
for her to be running as his vice president, that's kind of like, man, what happened behind those doors? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And on the
What were the
other,
talks like?
exactly, and on the other end, man, like I said, do they really represent us? I don't know, man. Like even listening to the vice president. So I personally enjoyed the vice presidential debate more than the presidential debate because the presidential
It was
debate.
better. It was better.
And honestly, Pence came out and the first thing he said was like, "Man, first of all, it's an honor to be on the stage with Kamala Harris." I think that kind of threw her off at first because she
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
came with strong points and she had her facts and she had her opinions about the current administration. But Pence did come out and the first thing he said was like, "First of all, it's an honor to be here, debating with Kamala Harris tonight. You know, we both love America. We both love whatever." And I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
damn. I thought, all right, Pence. But I mean, obviously Kamala,
Yeah,
she's
he was more presidential,
absolutely, absolutely. And like I
which
said,
helped. Which helped. It definitely helped. He was more presidential. He was more temperamental, if that's the correct word, or mild mannered, as I
it's
was
like
saying.
it's like, man, we need to switch him and
Um,
Trump.
yeah, yeah. He wasn't. He wasn't fighting up. He wasn't calling her any names. He wasn't disrespectful.
Right,
I think that's what people kind of wanted. Like, you can uh, put forth your ideas without all the personal jabs and digs.
right.
So
Because it's
that was
not
good.
personal. It shouldn't be personal. It should
Mhm.
be what's best for America, right? Overall,
That was good.
ultimately, right? It should be
What you,
best.
what was your thoughts on this debate, though, the vice president debate?
I think I think Kamala, like I said, she dropped a lot of good points. She brought up a lot of
Mm.
lot of she highlighted a lot of things that the Trump administration did wrong
Mm.
and that she thinks they did wrong. The handling of COVID. And the one thing I didn't like that she did was she brought up the economy. And
Yeah.
a lot of people say that shutting down the economy was the wrong thing. It wasn't the wrong thing. COVID-19 is real. It hit. We didn't want people to get sick.
Yeah.
People had to quarantine. Um, the economic effects were disastrous. Obviously, we all felt it, right? Every single one of us felt it.
Hmm.
But the fact is that before COVID-19, the economy was popping. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Economy was making money. Everything was cool before COVID-19, right? So this is an outlier. This is a variable that affected our economy, right? Without
Hmm.
our economy actually being bad.
Yeah.
So when she came at him about the economy, I kind of cringed because I was like, nah, Kamala, like you can't put that on the Trump administration, It's not their fault. That's not their fault.
True. True. I think from my perspective, the economy was definitely doing well for certain individuals. Like, the stock market was booming, things like that. But it is there's like a growing contrast out there. You know what I mean? So it's like you have these people who are killing it, and you have like certain numbers like job creation and things that on paper make it seem like you're killing it. But there's a lot of people out there who were underemployed, not unemployed, but they might not be working at the best job that they can work at. They might not be working for the highest pay that they could work at. And, as far as economy, it's one of those things where the rich continue to get richer and the poor were definitely getting poorer.
Right.
So just like averages wise, yeah, we were doing well, but there were some things that I think got magnified by COVID. So I think in that respect, she could have kind of pinpointed what she thought was going wrong with the economy or what she didn't like about the economy. Because
Right.
there were some aspects of the economy that were troubling. The middle class was still getting hollowed out. There was still, kind of a lot of job loss and uncertainty. But at that same coin, stock market was doing crazy. There's a lot of corporations that were booming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who were getting pay raises. There's a lot of people who were gainfully employed.
Exactly.
It just wasn't as spread out as I think a lot of people would have liked it to be. It wasn't as, everybody wasn't eating as they would have liked it to be.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what? But I think that's an American problem, bro. I think that's
no, it's an ongoing thing. It's not new.
Yeah, we need to bring, manufacturing, and we need to produce, something more than just Hollywood,
Yeah, exactly.
That's our biggest That's our biggest what we
export.
Yeah, exactly.
Entertainment.
It's entertainment. We don't have the Nike shops here, We don't have the tequila shops here. Like we just don't, Like what do we make?
It's a fact. I read an article probably years ago, maybe over 10 years ago, that said how the way America is going, marketing is going to be our biggest export.
Right.
So like you said, entertainment, and just ideation or just ideas.
Right.
Ideas are going to be the thing that America produces the most. We're going to be the ones who are going to create the new product, but the rest of the world is going to manufacture that new product.
Exactly. And all about that that's a part of your wheelhouse. And man, that's a limited space. If we are a marketing, conglomerate, if we are if we do have the ideas, like it's only a certain amount of people who can be in those jobs and those positions, part of those groups. So I mean, that's not helping us. You know what I mean? How do we employ the masses? I mean, that's like you said, that's the ongoing struggle. It's the ongoing fight out there.
Exactly. So I do agree with you, and I hope she was a little bit more, detailed in her answer on the economy rather than just giving a blanket statement as in, you did this or you didn't do this. But other than that, I mean,
I think it was a good debate. Other than that,
it was a good debate. I mean, I think, she answered something about his taxes that I think when you fact checked it, it wasn't true.
Right.
I think she said something about how he owed some $400 million.
Said Pence,
and I think it's no. She said Trump owes like $400 million. He does owe a large sum of money, but I don't think it's necessarily 400 million, and I don't think it's necessary. I think it's like you got to pay back a loan. Like when I looked it up, I think it was like some business loans that he does owe back money to, but it's like obviously it's a loan. It's like if you and me were debating and somebody was like, you owe a lot in your student loans, like
it's like okay,
loans, so
it's like all right.
But one thing I didn't like about Pence was that he didn't answer any questions.
I didn't like that either.
A lot of questions he was sidestepping. He was a good I will give him that he was speaking well.
Yeah.
But he was sidestepping them questions. Like when they ask a specific question, he'd be like, okay, but for a minute, I'd like to go back. And then he would answer a question that was like 2 questions ago. And he'd be like, okay, she asked you about abortion, and now you're talking about a war criminal, or like you're talking about like a prisoner of war or something like that.
Right.
I mean, you're like El Salvador. I was like, what does this have to do with abortion, my guy? Like, you were all over the place. I can't even like. If you were somebody who wasn't that sharp, you can get caught up in his brain games, you know, because like you could just be like, oh, he's speaking well, he's doing well. But it's like the question at hand, and you only have 2 minutes. You're using these full 2 minutes to answer a question that was asked like 10 minutes ago.
Exactly.
So it was kind of like, you know,
he was throwing
smart.
He was throwing fallacies out there everywhere, man.
Yeah, it was kind of like, is it smart because you don't know how to answer this question, or the answer would make you look bad, so you're just going to say something else?
Exactly.
Is it like a defense tactic?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like you still didn't answer the question, so it's
like,
what did we learn from your side of the debate?
Let's talk about climate change. Oh man, it's a beautiful day, you know?
Yeah.
The sun's shining.
Yeah. And then that fly landed on his head, which I knew was going to be a meme. I knew anything said during the debate was going to get thrown out the window when that fly stayed on his head for 2 minutes. I was like, oh, this is not good for him. This is a whole meme right here. This is, oh, geez.
Yeah. I think it's funny because when you Google anything about the vice presidential debate, the fly pops up.
The fly first. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, come on. I mean, it's funny. It was funny, man. I can't lie.
I knew it, man. That's how we work.
Yeah, I saw some memes that made me laugh, but I also have to pull myself back because, digress from that because, bro, you guys are letting a fly and memes of flies, cloud your mind of
everything else that was said.
Yeah.
All the information, all the good and the bad.
Let's stick to the point, y'all. I mean, the American people, we got to be a little bit more conscious of things like that. That's it's just like when they're making big decisions, all of a sudden something else happens over here, or they highlight something else that happened over here. While they're making
big distraction. It's funny, man. If you want to be a conspiracy theorist for real, it's like I remember I was sitting there thinking about this is the best thing that could happen to the Democrats. Not that Pence wasn't already losing, because just watching the debate up until that point, I thought Kamala was keeping him on his toes.
Yeah, she was.
The fact that he wasn't answering any questions, regardless on if, she might have sidestepped on the economy or his taxes. The fact that she was still at least answering the majority of the questions to the best of her knowledge, and he was sidestepping, it was kind of showing you where the strength in the debate was. And she's a prosecutor, so she knows how to talk in these situations.
Right. And you know what?
Okay, she's doing her thing, but this fly, I knew it. I knew it from the minute I saw it. I was like, this is the best thing that can happen to the Democrats because, regardless on what happens, she could win. But this is still better than her winning because now it's just a meme. Look at this fly. It landed on his head. Why did it choose his head? Why did it stay there? It's just so many jokes you could throw at him for a fly just landing on his head. It was too perfect. It was like, did they get a fly robot and just do that and say,
yeah.
It was too perfect.
I wouldn't be surprised if as soon as it happened, I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats had their own little social media team just blasting that.
Come on.
I wouldn't be surprised at that.
The minute it was done, Biden had a tweet out saying, get your fly. Obviously it was a joke, but he said get your fly swatters here or something.
Right. He tried to counter. And you know what, man? If any politicians are listening, I want you to know that the American people are not stupid, man. We are educated and we are listening. And if you do not answer a question, because there was a bunch of questions on both sides that weren't answered, right? Yeah. Kamala was definitely dropping a little bit more, facts and keeping them on his toes, but you not answering the question and avoiding the question as a debater, you know what I mean?
It doesn't look good, man.
It doesn't look good, man. You're being that sleazy politician. We recognize you weren't answering the questions.
Even if you
realize that.
Yeah, my thing is, even if you feel like the answer is something that people don't want to hear,
right?
You got to face that, man. Answer it.
Tackle it.
Answer it. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
You
Tell
know what?
people
The
why
best thing
you
a
feel how
politician,
you feel.
yeah, the best thing a politician can say out their mouth is this. You ask me a question about something, some economic or whatever, or some law or some tax. I'm gonna come out and say, hey, compromise.
Exactly.
These people are affected by this because of this. And then these people are affected. It's just like here in Colorado, where I can bring up something big in Colorado. Northern Colorado is big oil.
Mm-hmm.
They provide a lot of the jobs. There's really nothing else, just big oil. So people in Denver, they're against oil, right?
Yeah.
A lot of tech, it's a lot of liberal, it's a lot of whatever against oil. They don't care because they work in tech. They work for this. So that it's easy for them to target big oil and say, do away with big oil,
Mm-hmm.
But there's 400,000, 500,000 some odd people who will be out of work if you put the oil companies out of work right now. You see what I'm saying? So those laws that are proposed, directly affect these small town people who don't have anything, who don't know anything but that. But to them, because it's out of sight, out of mind, it's not in their, it's not in their world. They don't care. They vote this way.
Exactly.
And vice versa. The people who live in these small towns, they vote this way because whatever's happening down in Denver or in the tech world doesn't affect them. So what I'm saying is that, we as a people have to realize that America is a diverse place. We have to vote based on that, right? There has to be a compromise. People aren't unaware of that. And if you actually took the time to explain that as a politician, people will like you more. That's what I'm saying. Yep. If you take the time to explain that as a politician, it's like, yeah, you guys want me to do away with this, but we have to realize that there are 500,000 people who are, and that's only in one state, right? So imagine all the other states. That's only there's 500,000 people north of us who are, who that's the only industry they have to feed their families.
Yeah.
So how are we going to help support them? How are we going to do this? Go ahead and email my office, email my inbox. Let's come up with some solutions before we make the rash decision to do away with this right away.
Yeah.
How many politicians have said that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that makes sense. That's like, oh yeah, you're right. Let's think about our fellow man.
People just speak to their base and that's it.
That's it, bro.
Well, these people are voting for me, so I'm just gonna throw my all behind them, and that's it. They're not like really looking towards anybody else.
Exactly.
But I was just gonna say, normally we would have a third debate, which would be the second presidential debate.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, obviously, Trump has COVID. He says he doesn't, but still a little shaky. People are still a little weirded out by it. So, they have they've suggested the idea of having a virtual debate. Trump is shooting that down. He goes like, why? Let's just show up in person.
Right.
Biden is like, I'm not doing this in person. And it's crazy, right? Because you can hate on Biden and be like, oh, he doesn't want to do this in person, but Mitch McConnell, Trump's right hand man in the Senate, he hasn't been to the White House in over a month. He said because he himself, out of his own mouth, said he didn't like how the White House was handling COVID. So he said he hasn't shown up to the White House in person in over a month. So even people on Trump's own side are like, it's too risky to be around you right now. We don't know if you're sick. We don't know if people around you are sick. Like, we're just going to keep this to ourselves. So,
I mean, ultimately though, bro, it has nothing to do with politics. Let's get this straight.
People want to stay alive.
People want to stay alive. I don't care if you're, and even within the Democratic Party and within the Republican Party, there are different tiers, right? You got your Trumpers, you got your moderates, you got your liberal Republicans, and the Democrats, you got your conservative Democrats, you got your liberals. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are different tiers, right? So everybody ain't really all together all the time. Yeah. And the thing is that yeah, while Trump and his crew might think it's a joke and it's another flu and whatever, everybody else looking at him like, man, I believe in science, bro. Like
Come on, cuz.
if the doctors say it's
Come on,
real
man.
and the hospitals are being flooded with people,
Yeah.
and then this guy over here who's not a doctor, who's not in the medical field, is telling me that it's not real. It's like, who am I listening to? I'm gonna listen to the doctor, or I'm gonna listen to, Joe Schmo,
Yeah.
or in this case, President Trump. Like, hey, I'm not risking my life, you know.
Hey, man, you want to be out here talking about it's funny, man, because you're going to be out here talking about um it's another flu, but man's, the doctor gave him a Regeneron.
Yeah,
And if you know Regeneron, which is kind of funny for Trump as a Republican to take Regeneron, that is stem cells.
yeah,
So, you know, you out here kind of against abortion, and now you're benefiting from stem cells, which is from dead fetuses. Like, like,
hey
so
man.
what's gonna happen, bro? Like, are you gonna start pushing this Regeneron? Like, it's really weird. Like, are Republicans gonna start supporting it now just because you support it?
Yeah,
Um,
do as I say and not as I do.
yeah. So it's one of those things, man, where it's gonna be interesting to see how this thing progresses. But right now, I think the third presidential debate is gonna be
Postpone maybe.
in limbo. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen, man.
Yeah,
Like,
Trump he said negative to the virtual meet. He was like, nah, I'm not.
yeah, man. And
I'm
it's
not
kind of
doing that.
sinister, It's like Trump is still out here doing his rallies and whatnot. And just this past weekend, or past 2 days, uh, Candace Owens, her group called Blexit, which stands for the Black Exit of the Democratic Party.
Right.
It was shown that they paid a lot of people. They actually put out an ad for minority actors to be participants in this rally.
Sheesh.
But, they had a lot of black people march up to the White House, all wearing MAGA hats, all wearing Blexit t-shirts saying back the blue. They all showed up to the White House and Trump spoke to them. Now, I don't think they were let into the White House, but Trump spoke to them like standing on a balcony and whatnot.
Yeah, I
And a
saw
lot
that
of people are
picture.
like,
Yeah.
a lot of people are looking at it like, yo, this is crazy because one, I guess from the statistics that minorities are dying more due to COVID. Trump still is, does he have it? Does he not? And you just invite all these people to show up to the White House, like, son, like, is this a darker, more sinister thing that's going on? Do you want some of these people to catch COVID and then the whole crowd comes down with it, a few days later? Do you want to debate in person so then Biden can show up and catch it? Like, is it one of those things like if I'm going down, everyone's going down? Does he want everyone to catch COVID? Or does he really believe that he doesn't have it? Because it's like, son, just quarantine, man. Just
Yeah,
stay
bro.
where you're at for like 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, you gotta
But
be
he's
the
out there constantly being in people's face. So it's like,
you're the leader of the
these are
country.
some
You gotta
brave
be the
people.
example. You
These
gotta
are
be
brave people who are standing around him.
yeah, you gotta be the example. I feel like.
Even that photo op he wanted to take when people lined up outside of the hospital,
Right.
and in the middle of his recovery or hospital treatment, he gets in a car and circles around the block to wave at people. So those Secret Service people sitting in the car with him are putting their lives at risk. Like, it's one thing to like put on a mask and be in a car, because I remember going up to New York, when my grandfather had passed,
Right.
and there's a few people who got in the car with us who we know up there. And to me, I was like, look, I don't know where y'all have been. So I wore my mask in the car and I kind of kept the windows cracked. So like air was, circulating and blowing through. It's another thing to sit in the car with somebody who you know has COVID right now. You talk about 6 feet distance, and you're sitting in a car with Trump,
Right.
who has COVID, and like I don't give a fuck about no mask at that point, bro. I'm in an enclosed area with you, fam. Like, and you
Right.
have it. It's not no ifs, ands, or buts. You have it.
Right.
So that shit was wild to me. I was like, you putting these guys' lives at stake, who we ultimately pay the price for as taxpayers.
Right.
We got to pay their medical bills. We got to pay everything for them. So after they drove around for that photo op, they dropped him back off at the hospital. So it was like, you weren't cured, you know? You got up out your bed and you got in the car to go do that. It's some wild times, bro.
Hey, wild times, man.
Wild times.
Hey, but you know, jumping off of that, talking about legends. Man. Let's talk about some legends out here, man. Gale Sayers.
Come on.
Gale Sayers.
Okay, give it to us. Who's she?
Gale Sayers is a running back for Chicago Bears, man. He's
Let's go. We just came off a win. We beat the Buccaneers.
Come on now, Tom.
I've been saying it. Tom Brady, son.
Shout out to Tom Brady.
Hey,
you took that L this week, but you know he's still a GOAT. I gotta give it to him.
Come on.
Still a GOAT.
Yeah. I know you're a fan, so I'm gloating a little bit.
Hey, the Bears will take it though. The Bears will take it. But no, Gale Sayers is he's a running back for the Bears. One of the original running backs for the Bears, Hall of Famer, passed away. So rest in peace to him.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace to him. On the other end of that too, in the music world, Eddie Van Halen, who
rest in peace.
Rest in peace to him. He passed away this past week. Man, this is huge. It's like 2020's on the road, man, just taking people out left and right.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just happy that these weren't deemed COVID deaths if they weren't COVID deaths. You know what I mean? Because it was happening at first for a minute.
Yeah, man.
Anybody who died in 2020 was a COVID death.
Rest in peace. Oh man, I gotta look up his name real quick because I wanna do this justice. If you've ever seen a Spike Lee film, I know you know who this guy is. He was in multiple Spike Lee films. Let me see. Jefferson Bird.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson Bird. I had recently seen him on the Spike Lee film Get Back on the Bus. He was in Clockers as well. If you see his face, if you look him up, you'll definitely know who he is. But he was shot dead in Atlanta.
Wow.
Just 6 days ago. So, rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him as well. That's tragic. They're still investigating his death. Don't know what it was over. He was shot in the back as well. So, that's a cowardly thing for whoever did that. But it's still an open investigation.
Yeah.
But rest in peace, Thomas Jefferson Bird.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard for the family as well. And speaking of shootings, your boy Tory Lanez, he got
Hey, I was going there.
Hey,
Great minds, cuz. He got officially charged. He got officially charged with shooting at Meg Thee Stallion's feet. So for a while, if you haven't been following this story, Tory and Meg had been an item. They didn't really officially, announce their relationship, but they were definitely seen out and about a lot of times together during this quarantine. I guess they were at Kylie Jenner's house and something happened.
She would be involved.
Both of them. Yeah, of course. Right. I want to hear Kylie's side because I feel like there's more to the story that involves Kylie. But,
right.
They were leaving her house and Both of them were reportedly drunk, and before you knew it, some shots rang out, and it was reported that Tory Lanez had shot at Meg's feet. Now, Meg was back on her feet pretty quickly, when we had spoke about this. So it was kind of like, and I said this at first too, not to discredit anything that Meg was going through, but like, you get shot in your foot, it's damn near all bone. She said she didn't break any bone or anything.
Right.
So it was like, how did you get shot in your feet and didn't hit any bones? And, Tory even said that on his project that he just released, a few days ago as well, where he said how you get shot in your feet and didn't hit any bones or tendons. But I guess what it's being reported as now is that she got hit by some shrapnel. She got, grazed. So, grace of God, it missed her feet. But, apparently he shot at her feet. So a lot of people didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it because, like, how are you as a man shooting at a woman? I don't care what type of argument you go through. Why are you shooting at a woman?
Right.
But, she said Tory shot her. A lot of people went against Tory. Tory, after a while broke his silence by releasing that album that I was talking about. On the album, he says things like, how did, I shoot you and do this? A few of Meg's friends actually went against her and were saying how, we were all drunk. And, there's a lot of stories being popped up to explain the shooting.
Right.
That people were drunk. Tory didn't actually remember what happened. No one actually knows how the gun got fired. So that's why no one said anything against Tory. Tory is alleging that Rock Nation is behind this, and they're trying to just, they don't want to make it seem like it was a drunken night and somebody had the gun. And one of her friends said they were wrestling over the gun, like playing with it, apparently, like taking videos and photos with the gun. And then somebody said, yo, give me this back. And when they were wrestling with the gun, it went off, hitting her in her feet.
Yeah.
So if you believe that story, people are trying to say that they're trying to place the blame on Tory just as a scapegoat because they don't want to make it seem like people are irresponsible with a gun or whatever, But
the whole situation.
It's a lot of different stories. Yeah. At this point, we don't know what to believe.
Absolutely.
But regardless, Tory released his album. He said that he didn't do it. He said he was drunk. He said time will tell. But he has been officially charged now with assault with a deadly weapon, with illegally having a firearm, and with illegally having a firearm in a moving vehicle. So he's facing a maximum sentence of 22 years and 8 months.
Yeah, 22 years and 8 months for a cloudy situation, which nobody has a straight story. And like they're playing with a gun. Like, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
we need answers,
Just to be honest with you, it's like, yo, I don't, why?
This has gone on long enough. We need answers.
Yeah, what and why? In any normal situation, somebody gets shot or somebody gets shot at, there's a clear and relevant story. In this situation, there hasn't been a clear or a relevant story, as
exactly
a drop of why she might have got shot at, or why there was a gun there, or why it was her and Tory. You know what I mean? And like you said, I just feel like for them to charge him 22 years and 8 months, like for a cloudy story, is like, I don't know, man, it's excessive, right? Something's
and
not right.
way after the fact,
Yeah.
Because for a while he wasn't getting charged. Right. Like this story has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
For a while he hasn't been charged. He's been able to travel out and about. This happened in California, and he was able to go to Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
He was able to travel to New York. He was able to do a lot of things. So, for them to charge him so much later, and they charged him probably like a week and a half after he released this album.
Right.
So, do you feel like he was being cocky, or do you feel like he was being, is it one of those things where like, oh, you're being celebratory almost, and you're putting out this album? I don't know. It's weird, because like I said, a lot of her friends have fallen out with her recently, and they've been kind of speaking on Tory's side, and they've been giving their accounts of what happened, and all these accounts are conflicting. Her account conflicts with Tory's account. Tory's account conflicts with Meg's friends' accounts. Meg's friends' accounts conflict with Meg's account. And Meg's friends apparently are not her friends anymore.
Right.
It's some really strange stuff going on. It's some really strange stuff going on. So
I mean, like I said, to the educated ear, right? So what I'm hearing, man, like this is a case that, and like you said, if he did shoot at her, he's a coward. Like
yeah,
but there's no solid evidence, bro, and there's no solid details, and the stories all conflict. It's just like this is the type of thing in court that should have been thrown out. To charge a man with 22 years and 8 months with no solid story, with no solid account, with no real evidence, like come on, Cali. You know what I mean? Like
there was video of them getting arrested, but like that same video camera wasn't working when someone was getting shot at. Like what's going on here?
Exactly. Yeah. Where's that footage at? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Hope everything works out over there. Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
Meg Thee Stallion. I don't know. Maybe that WAP got him all crazy. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening, but
yeah,
they definitely gonna figure it out. Hey man, so a couple episodes ago we talked about the Travis Scott meal, which unfortunately I did not get. I am upset at myself because I didn't go.
Hey, but you did try that pub burger, which I tried at Wendy's.
Hey, the pub burger at Wendy's is banging. Shout out to Wendy's. Burger. Shout out to Wendy's. Hey, did you eat it? Did you have it?
They're playing. Yeah, I had it, bro. Pressure. I had it.
Pressure.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They're applying pressure out here.
But
back to McDonald's.
Back to Mickey D's. Back to Mickey D's. So I went there and I asked them like, hey, can I still get the Travis Scott burger? Can you give me the Cactus Jack meal? And they were like, no, we're not serving that anymore or whatever. But we do have the J Balvin. So I was like, you know what? Let me try the J Balvin, right? They gave it to me. And, typical McFlurry, right? Big Mac or whatever with the Mac sauce. I was like, there's nothing really different. They just kind of smacked.
Look, man, I'm a little disappointed in the J Balvin meal because look how we spoke on the Travis Scott meal, right? And I said it was smart for them to just kind of work on an existing menu item already, which was the quarter pounder, right? They have a quarter pounder with cheese, right? And recently, you've been able to add bacon to things.
I saw that.
That's not necessarily something that is publicized or marketed. But if you do ask them, can you add bacon to this? Even if you get large fries or any size fries, you can ask them, can you add bacon to these fries? And they'll just put 2 slices of bacon in the fries for you. They'll do that. But that's not necessarily something that's like, marketed or put out there. So for Travis Scott to take a quarter pounder with cheese, add bacon on it, and one thing I didn't realize is that you can order a quarter pounder with cheese and bacon, but it won't come with tomato and lettuce.
No, it won't.
Or pickle. I think it'll just have onions on there. So it was crazy because like I had ordered that sandwich. I had ordered the meal for myself, and then I had ordered the same exact sandwich for my mom, thinking like, okay, it's just going to be the same sandwich, just without the meal. It's different. My stuff came with the lettuce, tomatoes, and pickles. So like it was a little bit of an upgraded burger. It was like, yes, you can get a quarter pounder with cheese anytime you want. But to add the extras, the lettuce, tomato, the bacon.
It made it a totally different burger.
It does a little bit something different. It does a
Yeah.
little bit something different. You know,
Yeah.
you spice it up. This time with the J Balvin meal, it's like
It's the same thing, man.
it's the same Big Mac. Nothing got added to the Big Mac, nothing got taken away. You didn't upgrade the Big Mac. All you did was add a McFlurry. So you mean to tell me I could just go there and get a Big Mac meal and get a McFlurry?
Right. And that's what I was thinking in my head when I got it, right? I was like, man, it's got to be like some kind of spice to it, or, you know what I mean? Maybe some jalapenos on this joint, like something different, right? Something marketable.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
nah, man, it was just like, you know, McFlurry.
Yeah,
Big
just
Mac.
a regular run of the mill meal, you know, like.
Yeah, I thought to myself, like, man, I should have went and got that pub burger.
Hey, man. Hey, bro. When you said that the other day, you mentioned it the other day, and I thought about it too. I was like, you know what? I might get chicken. I was like, but you know, if I'm here, I'm gonna get a burger. I'm gonna just do it the right way. I'm gonna get a burger. Way. So
you don't go to a burger joint just to get chicken. You know what I mean?
Come on.
you know.
So I got the pub burger, bro. Yeah, man. Wendy's is doing the thing, man. The pretzel bun is nice. The crispy onions, the fried onions was nice. Like the weird cheese was nice. They did their thing, man.
Hey,
come on.
I took a bite of that joint. And I was like, damn. I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay. Yeah. Whoever their team is in the back is doing their thing. And you know what? From a marketing standpoint, if you really think about it, bro, especially with the pandemic still ensuing, right?
Yeah.
And you can't go to a bar. In some places, you can't go to a bar right now and really get like some good bar food, right? A pub burger, some wings, things of that nature. Yeah. That's kind of a niche market right now. Yeah. To have a good pub burger at a Wendy's, like
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Look at that, Wendy's. You guys got us talking about it, and we started off talking about McDonald's and jumped to the
exactly. But one thing to close out the McDonald's topic is that they did release their sales information regarding the Travis Scott meal, which they said was a success.
Yeah.
Comparing these last 3 months to the last 3 months of last year of 2019, they actually did 4% better.
Okay.
And they actually raised their sales for 2020 9% during that Travis Scott time.
Nice.
So they had a little bit of a slump because they had to close dining rooms for McDonald's. Yeah. But you know, they said the Travis Scott meal helped get them back on track and actually bumped sales up. So I guess they're looking to continue that with this J Balvin meal.
Yeah.
Obviously, a big joke is, you know, people hope the McFlurry machine doesn't break. Because, you know, McDonald's never seems to have a working ice cream machine. But
yeah, that's like a McDonald's company standard, you know, no working ice cream machine after like a week.
Exactly.
But honestly, man, like I said, I was a little down. I was a little, you know, not upset, but I was a little disappointed with the J Balvin meal. And honestly,
they didn't do anything out of the ordinary. And even with the Travis Scott meal, you know, when you order it, they're supposed to give you barbecue sauce.
Right.
So with this J Balvin meal, when I read it, the full meal was Big Mac, fries, I think a Sprite, or maybe not a Sprite. I think it's just a Big Mac, fries,
McFlurry,
the McFlurry, and ketchup. So you really telling me that ketchup is like an add-on for a special meal?
I couldn't get like a sriracha ketchup or something.
Come on.
Get like a, you know, something.
Honey mustard. Something.
Yeah. A Big Mac with some garlic aioli instead of mac sauce.
Come on, man.
Something, man.
Just switch it up.
Hey, McDonald's, if you need something, come holler at the car. We got you. We got all types.
Hey, you gotta make these meals unique for people to really want to order them.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's another thing. Like I'm not necessarily the biggest J Balvin fan, but you know, when thinking about it, it's like, yeah, you know, do I want to be a part of the hype. Like, I don't care. You know, you can say hype beast or whatever, but like it's fun to be in the know and to order a meal once and just be like, yo, I got that, I experienced that. But
Right.
it's nothing really that's drawn me to go and get this meal. Like, I've had Big Macs a lot, you know, like
Exactly.
I got ketchup at the crib. I'm not necessarily a McFlurry person in the first place, so
Hey, to be honest with you, man, I got some of those Checkers or Rally's fries in the freezer. I was like, man, I could throw
come
them
on, cuz.
in the oven,
Come
man.
on,
Come on,
man.
stop playing with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so let's talk about man, LeBron, LA.
Yeah.
They were supposed to shut him out, supposed to put him out. The Heat,
Hey, man.
my boy Jimmy Buckets down there doing
Jimmy
his thing.
Buckets is working, bro. He's working. One man team out here.
You feel me?
He
40,
is working.
47 minutes, right? Was it 47 minutes the whole game he played this last game? Something like that.
He's showing people. He's showing all his past teams that he's ever had problems with, because you know Jimmy Butler's not I guess, an easy teammate to work with. Like,
Right.
he's left a lot of teams and not necessarily had the best things to say about those teams when he left them.
Exactly.
So
The last team I remember him doing well with and having synergy was the Bulls, and and that was his rookie year, correct?
exactly.
Graduated from Marquette University, which is just north of Chicago in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, and man came to Chicago, and he was with D Rose, he was with Joakim Noah, he was with Taj, like he was with the squad, right? So that's why I kind of support Jimmy, man. I stand behind Jimmy, and just to see him, bounce from team to team because of lack of synergy or culture or whatever it is, and then step into this leadership role with the Heat, because
Yeah.
everybody who they interview and ask about Jimmy Butler on the Heat has said that, like, Jimmy is the leader. Like, he's that guy. Like, we got a good relationship. He pushes us to be better. We push him to be better. Like, and it shows, man. Like, he's not giving in right now. He's not giving up, and he's not giving in. He's going basket for basket. I want to say basket for basket with LeBron, but really he's going basket for basket with the Heat. I mean, with the Lakers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's going
He's
basket.
doing his thing, man. He's doing his
He
thing.
really is. And shout out to Danny Green. Jeez.
Hey, man.
Jeez.
Danny's he's recognizing what it means to be put on that world stage right now. Because even though, I know a lot of people like to bring up the fact that, viewership is down during COVID for all sports, but viewership is down for the finals. People feel like they're not getting the same product, even though you have, a virtual crowd, which is better than some sports. I think, at least for football, it might be socially distanced, but you still have people in the crowd. So now that football's back, that's your realist crowd kind of participation aspect. But for, NBA, they tried to, still keep the crowd apart with their virtual crowd thing with Microsoft Teams.
Right.
But, a lot of people have been complaining out here that it's just not the same. It's not the same game when you have the players or when you have the crowd putting pressure on the players. But, man, bro, it doesn't matter who is there. When it comes down to a finals game like that, and you have the ability to close it out, you're up 3-1. Like, fam, just win the game. And LeBron passed it to you.
Wide open.
And a lot of people were giving LeBron flack, like, see, Jordan would have never passed it. But I guess Jordan has passed. If you look back in his career, Jordan has passed during similar moments.
Steve Kerr.
Exactly.
Come on.
So LeBron passed it, and people were giving him shit like, yo, why would you pass the ball? You take the shot. Like, they're taking this away from LeBron's clutch or lack thereof clutch mentality. Is he really as clutch as the greats should be? You passed it at that final moment when you could have taken the shot. But when you look back at that moment, Danny Green was wide open.
Wide open.
So LeBron kind of set that shot up for him. You had everybody over to the left. You had everybody over to the right. Danny Green was at the 3-point line, dead center in the middle. Not everybody can shoot threes, but just do your thing and focus, man, and make the three. Make the three. And he didn't make the three, and him being on that world stage, he's hearing it right now. People are mad at him.
People are mad at him. But
they wore the Black Mamba jerseys too.
I gotta kind of back up a little bit, man, because Danny Green does have some rings with the Spurs, and he has hit some major shots. So I gotta throw that out there. You know what I mean? It's any given Sunday, even on the basketball.
Can't make every shot, yeah.
Even on the basketball court, and he did miss that shot, which I felt, wide open. That's what you do, bro. You are a 3-point shooter. You have to hit that shot. Forget me, you have to hit that shot. He should have hit that shot. Yeah. But LeBron has missed some shots,
Yeah.
He's missed some shots. Even Mike has missed some shots, right? And just like you said, people forget Jordan did kick it out to Kerr for a game-winning shot. He has kicked it out to Harper for a shot. You know what I mean? He has dished it to my man Pippen, in situations like that. Or he'll take it himself, which is cool because LeBron has done the same thing. So you can't take away from LeBron's greatness.
You can't be that hard on LeBron.
No. I won't let him do that. I won't do that, and I won't let them do that. But I'm gonna say this, man. Danny should have hit that shot, but this is a testament to Jimmy Butler, bro. This has nothing to do with them because even at the end of that game, to put him up in a position to take the lead with that 3-point shot Danny Green took, AD put up a shot that was nasty. He had a putback layup that put him, in the range of winning it, or tying it up. Man, it's interesting. I mean, viewership is down, obviously, because people think that, COVID had a big effect, and the super team thing, which, that's always a debate, right? The super teams, LA being a super team. And then I even seen some people put out there, JR would have hit that shot. JR would have hit it. What? I've seen JR jag some shots, boy. I'll put
this. We're not gonna go there because a lot of people when it's really, really real during the actual season, people give JR, he got a ring, right?
Right.
But even when he got that ring, I remember people were like, man, JR finally got a ring. Let's not act like JR is the first player that people give respect to. People clown JR normally. Now it's kick it off to JR and he's just Mr. Trusted. I don't buy it. Y'all just saying things because you're emotional right now.
Y'all saying things y'all emotional. And like I said, let's not get it twisted. Danny Green has 2 rings as well.
Mm-hmm.
He got to that he actually participated in. Danny Green's hit way more shots than JR.
Yeah.
That's just facts. He was with the Spurs, Popovich, Tim Duncan, Ginobili. Stop it, bro. Stop it. Let's not shit on Danny Green because of one bad game. And I'll argue that to anybody. That's just facts. Right? JR, he might have got a ring sitting on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on, man. So, but anyway, I think that let's get off of them and jump. Like I said, Jimmy, man. Come on. Jimmy Butler, bro.
Jimmy doing his thing, man. This is one thing, I've never been a huge LeBron fan. But I wouldn't be mad if LeBron won this finals, got his 4th ring.
Right.
I really wouldn't be mad, I don't have a dog in this fight, if LeBron took it, cool, he got his 4th ring. He really got what he set out because he was one of the main guys pushing to play during COVID. A lot of people were like, nah. So, at the end of the day, I can say he really went and got what he set his mind to.
Right.
But on that other side, if Butler wins, I still look at Butler like a Bull, even though he's been on all these other teams since leaving the Bulls. I still look like if Butler, pulls it out and say Butler doesn't win because he's got to win every single game.
He has to.
And I guess it's worked, right? There's been a few times where people have come back from 3-1.
Yeah.
there's been a few times where people have come back from 3-1. So, if Butler really does it, we got to start, having those conversations about Jimmy. Where does he rank?
Right. So
Maybe not greatest of all time, but he really did step it up to a point where it's like, fam, you're doing some really big things out here. Not only, like you said, he is a leader of a team now, he's found synergy in a team now.
exactly.
But he took these people to the finals and he came back from a 3-1 deficit. So, I would be very happy if Jimmy won as well. There's definitely some hometown pride still there with Jimmy. There's definitely something that I still got to look at and be proud of Jimmy for even making it this far and balling out.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm kind of conflicted too, because AD's from Chicago.
Exactly.
So like,
exactly.
he actually went to my grammar school, So
Okay, yeah.
I knew AD when he was young, and man, it's conflicting, but it's like you want to see Jimmy do good, man. I want to see. I mean, AD getting the ring wouldn't be bad, but I want to see Jimmy doing good. You know what? Forget it. Jimmy and AD to the Bulls next year. What's up?
Hey, come on, fam. We need him. We need him. We need him, man. Bring him back.
Bring him back.
Bring him back.
Yeah.
Hey, tell Jimmy we got rid of our front office too. Garpax no more.
No more, man.
No
more.
The Bulls is it's a new era starting for the Bulls, man. So
it's a new era for the Bulls, man. This is
come back.
I'm just happy to have sports back.
Yeah.
Football is raging. We got football back.
Bears had won their last game, as we said earlier.
Hey,
who do they play next? Against the Bucks, yeah.
Yeah, against the mighty Buccaneers, Tom Brady. Which you know what, Tom's looking good.
Okay. I haven't really paid attention to Tom so far on his new team, but you said he's doing all right.
Yeah, Tom's looking good, man. He's in rare form right now. Everybody thought that he would fall apart without Belichick.
Old man Brady.
Yeah. Without Belichick, but he's doing his thing. So I mean, shout out to
he's
Tom.
He's got Gronk on his team though, right?
Yeah, that's right. But you know what, Gronk's looking a little slow. I still love Gronk, but Gronk ain't producing like he used to.
All right.
Yeah. So we got the Panthers next. So we got Carolina next.
Mm-hmm.
Should be
Is Cam Newton still out?
Cam Newton is still out, man. Cam Newton is still out. So the Patriots, that road that they were on, I don't know. They're subbing some people in. I think they play today. But yeah, Cam he came down with COVID-19. Hopefully he's doing better. Hopefully he's doing good. Everybody who was around him, the teams that they were playing, hopefully they all got tested and came out negative. So you can only hope for the best, pray for the best in that perspective. But yeah, Cam's still out.
Yeah, basketball's tonight as well.
Oh man,
we can see if Jimmy can hold them off again.
That's a fact. I hope you guys all tuned.
So we got a good sports day today, man. We got a good sports day today.
Yeah, and man, we need it. We got elections going on. You need something to decompress.
Yeah.
So a little sports, some sports, some Netflix. I mean, nothing wrong with that. A walk outside with your mask on.
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool. So
speaking of Netflix, man, you watched anything recently? Just Netflix or not, have you caught up with any shows or movies? I know for me, I got HBO Max and this movie Charm City Kings, which did well at Sundance, and it was produced by, I think, Will Smith and Meek Mill. And Meek
sounds
Mill
like a winner already.
Yeah, Meek Mill is actually in the movie as well in a few scenes, but it based on a true story. Baltimore has a big bike culture, street dirt bike culture within the Black community. So there's a lot of kids who like to build up bikes and ride them on the street and pop wheelies and have sideshows and ride ATVs through the hood and stuff like that. And Meek actually, I think he went through a probation violation for riding a bike through the hood one time.
Yeah, he did.
they were saying that, you don't have the, correct license to be driving this on the street. But in Baltimore, I think the cops, they obviously, it's not a perfect situation, but the cops, I think in Baltimore kind of, um, they understand the culture. So it's not necessarily like they lock up every single kid who's riding a bike on the streets.
Right.
They kind of like, if it's contained to like a certain area and things like that, they'll let it rock.
They
But
embrace it. Yeah, they embrace that
yeah,
person.
it's not like they're locking up everybody because you don't have a street license to ride this bike on the street and things like
Right.
that. Because it keeps kids, I guess, contained. If they're working on building up a bike and just riding a bike, they're not necessarily doing other things. But yeah, that's what this whole story is about. Charm City Kings is about a young kid who I think is like 13. He's trying to get down with like the older guys in his neighborhood who are riding bikes.
Right.
Meek Mill becomes a mentor to him, but it won some Sundance Awards. Meek Mill actually was surprisingly a good actor. So yeah, he did his thing, man. If anyone has time, check that out. That's my recommendation for the week.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right now I'm binging Van Helsing.
Okay. I see
And,
you.
and I mean it's spooky season out here,
Yes,
so
sir. Yes,
pumpkins
sir.
and Halloween, Halloween events, and obviously we can't party for Halloween this year like we would previous years because of the pandemic. But I have kind of dove into that. Um, Van Helsing, the vampire hunter, his family, his bloodline, the rising, vampires taking over the world. And I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good plot, man. It's actually a really good
Okay.
plot. So I've been rocking with that. I finished New Girl, so sad.
Hey. Hey.
So sad, the
All
last
right.
the last episode, I didn't even know it was the last episode to like the end, and I was like, oh man, like what do I do now? You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nah, they have a couple of trending shows on Netflix. One being The 100, and I don't know if anybody if you watched The
I've
100.
heard about it. I haven't
Man, I watched The 100.
watched it yet. I've heard about it.
Yeah,
Good show?
I watched The 100 when it had first came out. No, well, not when it first came out, but when it first hit Netflix and Amazon Prime. But man, The 100 is a good one. If you're looking for a new show, I recommend.
Reality show?
No, it's not a reality show. It's based on the Earth, pretty
Okay.
much. Something happening on the Earth, pretty much making it unlivable. So we move up to space, but then, but then years later it becomes livable
Hey.
again. So they send 100 people down to try to repopulate. But yeah, go check it out. It's interesting sci-fi. The 100 and Van Helsing, especially now, like I said, during spooky season, you're looking for something for you and your family to engage. Van Helsing is a good one as well. Um, yeah, so those are my Netflix recommendations. And speaking on that, since we're giving recommendations, we it might not be an official show, but me and Ryan are both reading and listening to 50 Cent Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we'll be doing a special episode of a review on that, and we might do that live or something. Who knows? Get some other people
Hey,
involved,
man.
but
Yeah.
we'll be doing that. So look out for that. Yeah, that's it. The COD.
Episode 17.
Hey, we here. We strong. Full speed ahead. Stay
Yes,
safe.
sir.
Stay safe. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Next week for episode 18. On recording on October 18th.
Yeah,
We got the homie Cook Up Cam.
cook it up.
Me and him got a project dropping on the 17th.
10/17.
Yes, sir. So check out Care Pack 2 when it drops. But we'll be speaking to Cook Up Cam just about the beats that he provided for that EP. What other artists that he's working with in the city. I guess he's a sneaker reseller as well, so we're going to speak to him about pop culture and streetwear as well. Just see what's going on back in Chicago.
Yeah,
Someplace that, as me and Paul are from. So we're going to touch base with the hometown and and just see what's going on in the street, see what's going on musically, and just catch up with the scene, the arts out there.
Hey, you heard him. 1017 new EP dropping.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Check it out at the COD or at Ryan the MC, our very
Yes,
own.
sir.
Hey, this is the COD. This is the COD.
COD podcast. Peace.
Holla.